What we're going to do is we have this webcam right here, and what you can see is it has this sort of clipping mechanism that allows it to sort of sit on the front of a computer monitor and sort of look down from the top of your monitor there. That's not really ideal for me. In fact, I've already modified this. You can see on my last stream what I did was I connected this whole new length of longer USB wire to it so it can be sort of used better. And then what I have that I'm going to adjust here is I'm going to make this so it can sit essentially in the clip of a microphone stand. So I want just essentially just like a sort of like a stick coming off the bottom of this instead of this whole clipping mechanism that we got going on here. So obviously what I got to do to start off with is remove this whole mechanism, and that looks to be quite easy. There seems to be 3 small screws, tiny screws rather, on the very bottom of this. So what I can do there is get my little iFixit tool with the proper tiny head that I need to get those screws out of there. Okay, that's one right there. And I have tested this webcam just a little while ago, just last night in fact, to make sure that all the solder that I've done there is good and that the camera works, which it does. It'll be nice to have a second video camera to use. I mean, it already does work. It's just kind of a pain to sort of mount where you want it. So let's see what comes off here. We get that piece coming off there. Each of these little legs probably comes off, although it looks like there's like, I can leave the legs on there in fact, but what I can do is take out this very center screw to perhaps free everything. Yeah, there we go. All of that is out of there. Okay, so there's this tiny little mechanism here, and okay, I have a screw in the center to work with. So if I make something, it can screw in the center. Now what I don't need to necessarily do is make this modification permanent, right? What if I want to use this mechanism again? Okay, so if I want to, I should be able to. So that means whatever I make, it's going to connect here on the top of this space here, and it's going to have a tiny little hole in the middle so that I can attach it using this screw that's already there. Now it looks like the relevant dimensions here that I need to understand and work with in my software. This is Fusion 360 that I have open here for you guys. I'm going to measure down here. Okay, that says that that's about 13 and a, or excuse me, 12 and a half. It's about 12.7 millimeters right there, that little feature. So 12.7, I'm going to add for tolerances because of the diameter of the line drawn by the nozzle there. Its aperture is about 0.5 millimeters. So if I want this inner space like this to actually be the 12.7 or 12.68 there you see, I'm going to actually model it to be 13 exactly. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to give it kind of like probably like a 3 millimeter wall thickness. Okay, my cat is interested in doing what I'm doing here, but he's got to move. Bro, sorry, you're in the way. Move. Go. Hey, come on. Go away. Go away. No, I know. Sorry. All right. So 13 is the diameter there, and then it needs to come up by, we'll say, less than that even, huh? No, we want it to be flush with the bottom of that there. So actually, what did this piece that fell off do? Let's put that back on there. So we have this piece that goes on there like that, I believe. Is that how that goes? And then this comes down here like that. Okay. So we're going to put this piece on there just because it kind of makes that shape there a little bit more regular. And now this 13 that we have is going to come up to about, it's going to come 10 millimeters high. Okay, that's what we're going to start with. So in our software, let's get ourselves a plane. Which plane do we want? That one? No. I want this one. Okay, we're going to sketch on the plane a flat thing. Okay, let's open that sketch. We're going to start with a circle. So here's our plane. Now our circle, remember, is 13. Okay, let's kind of zoom in a bit better so we can work better. So 13 is what we have there. Then we're also going to use the offset tool. Okay, and that is right here, excuse me. Grab the circle here and give it a 3 millimeter wall thickness. Okay, we're going to say that. Now this feature is the first part of our model. We're going to actually finish the sketch by clicking on finish sketch there. And now we take this feature and we extrude it by, how much did we say? We said 10. So we look at that. That's 10 millimeters, like that. That little feature is done. Now we also want to make sure that the other piece here is kind of held nicely. And we see that this piece is in fact 9.2. We're going to say 9.8. Okay. Whoa. Came off there. So 9.8 at the top there is our new diameter. And that feature, we're going to say, is about I'm going to say 4 millimeters. Okay? So 4 millimeters plus the 10, 14. 14 should be all of this right here. Okay. 14 is perhaps too much, no? Up to there? Yeah, that's too much. We're going to say we got to go to 13. Okay. 13 is to there. So if we go to 13, does this come in here? You know what? I'm actually not liking this thing. I'm going to take it off. We don't need it. We can line up just like this and then come in there. So 10 is as tall as we wanted to do, right? So with 10 comes up to about there. And now in the very middle of it, we need a teeny tiny little hole for this to go through. And this little thing is just 1.7 millimeters. Okay. Obviously with our tolerances, we're going to make sure that that's a nice big size. In fact, what we're going to do on this right here, do a new sketch. We start with the center, the circle. This is going to go all the way out to 2.8, which sounds giant, but you know, it's still pretty small, obviously. And then we're going to do another circle, same way, starting from the center here. If I can get my circle tool to work. Oh, there it is. And then out to there. So stop sketch there. Now what we do with our extrusion is is we take this piece and also this piece, and we bring them up by the thickness of, of this right here. It can be a maximum of 5 millimeters thick. We're going to give it to be, we're going to have it be 3. That seems to be enough. And then this can screw down in there and hold it quite tight. So 3 millimeters is going to be the thickness of this. Okay, so now what we have is that thing screws onto there. Now, of course, I need this to be in a nice long stick that comes way out. And if I just stretch this straight up, then I need a ridiculously long screw to hold that thing in, which I don't have. So what I'm going to do from here is first I'm going to remind myself, what is this diameter that I'm working with for the microphone stand. Now I went ahead and designed this thing a little while ago, which is a GoPro sort of device for exactly the same sort of thing. So I'm just going to sort of check that out. What was this that I decided on? It looks like that's about 21.8. Okay. We're going to say 22, just to make it easy. So 22 is what this stick needs to be. Now, it's only 13 at the moment, obviously. So what we're going to see when we do a new sketch here, again with the center diameter circle, well, first of all, we need to have room for that screw head to sit in there. So we're going to give that 8. I mean, that's way too much. In fact, we don't need room for the screw head to sit in there. We need room for a bit of a screwdriver to get down in there and put the screw head in there. So that's going to be, okay, I said 8. This is 7.5. So I think 8 actually sounds good. Let's do it 8.3. 8.4, huh? There we go. 8.4. That should be enough room to get any kind of screwdriver down in there to turn that screw and affix the mount mechanism here. So we're going to go there. And then we had said that 22 is the diameter for our microphone stand. So 22. Okay. It's not much bigger than 13, looking at it like that. And so this sketch is finished. Now what we're going to do with our extrude here, obviously we're going to grab this piece. We're also going to grab this piece. We don't want to grab in here. Okay. Now how long do I have this device? This is, it's about 25. Okay. We're going to do the same amount. Okay, let's see how that looks. Have to ask ourselves, is it really feasible to get that screwdriver down in there? I think that's fine, right? I also have, how long is 25? 25 is like this. Yeah, I certainly have screwdrivers, little mini ones for like working on glasses and stuff like that that can get into there to do that. And I think also my iFixit device is also fine for that. So 25 is good. I think that's our whole device right there. Okay, that's going to be like a collar that sits over this mechanism right here. It's going to sort of just plug into there. And then what we have is a hole for a screwdriver where we put the screw in there. That thing connects. And now this whole mechanism can sit in a microphone clip. Now we want to ask ourselves, is this ideal for 3D printing? Do we want to give it a flat edge? It looks like the way we'll print it is simply going to be like this, with this as the bottom. And then it'll stack up quite easily. We'll have supports in here. We might even be able to get away with bridging here. No, we can't. There's a hole in the middle. If there wasn't a hole in the middle, we could bridge that quite easily. But given that we have that hole there, that makes it a little bit difficult. In fact, what I might do is get a washer down in here, maybe. Uh, we'll see. We'll see how that comes out. It should be quite clean. So this is our device. We are done with our 3D modeling. Okay? So with our 3D modeling done, excuse me, it's asking me to do this. With our 3D modeling done, we go ahead and we're going to save it, obviously. Save. To make sure we save it in the correct folder. I have all kinds of stuff that I've done here. You can see this is specifically a new device. It's not going to be inside any folder, right? So we're going to call this not my first project location, no. Just, well, it looks like everything's in there. All right, fine. So this thing is called webcam. Excuse me, webcam's pretty generic. What the heck is this brand exactly? This is an iHome. Okay. We're going to say iHome webcam mic clip mount. Yeah? Webcam? Excuse me, webcam. Oh no. Alright, cool. Webca. Right. So that's fine. We're going to just fix the file after we close it. 3D print. Do not send a 3D print utility. This thing right here. Okay. We want this on the desktop. This is the iHome webcam mic clip mount. Excellent. Now, we have our other printers printing some other things. So I'm actually going to set this up on the smaller 3D printer I have over here. It's pretty neat. I'm going to sort of maybe get it into the camera view. This is exactly the sort of thing that I'd use a second camera for, obviously. Just cut over to it. So instead of my second camera, I'm just going to go ahead and move the one camera I have to show you guys the little desktop printer I have here. Whoop. It's pretty neat. It's this little device from a company called Tier Time. It's a Chinese 3D printer company, and I'm going to go ahead and switch the power on so you can see how this works. Excuse me, where's my power button? I also need my USB plugged in, actually. There it is. So this is going to go ahead and get plugged in. I have a USB cable here. It also needs to initialize. It's a pretty small printer. Obviously the print bed is quite small. I plug it in there, and then I plug in the USB, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the slicer software so you can see what that looks like. The slicer software is right here. It's opening in my main window now. I'll drag it over here as soon as it comes up. this right here. So it doesn't see the printer. It says printer not initialized, which is something you do simply by pressing a button on the front of the printer here. You see this red button? I'm just going to give it a little tap. It should initialize the printer. Excuse me, hold it. There you go. So now it's doing this initialization process. It'll go ahead and home the bed to the top. I'm going to open this, or to the bottom rather, obviously. I'm going to open this. You guys can sort of see the hot end mechanism moving around there. Now it brings the bed forward. So I'm going to put my bed plate in here. And it's like a perforated board with little dots in it. And now it says printer ready. So I'm going to go to up right here on the left. This is the slicer. I'm going to add my file from the desktop. It's this thing right here. Put it sideways. It's not exactly how I want it. That's fine. We can go ahead and turn it with the rotate function. That should be up here. Where is it? Flip. Right. No. Or flip is mirror. Excuse me. Rotate. Alright. Excuse me. So there. That looks good. Enter on the keyboard. Let's go ahead and obviously get it not sunken down into the what? Need to raise it up. There should be a function for fixing a surface to the bed. Excuse me here. Move. There it is. Drop to. That's it. Okay. So that's good. We don't need to alter any of the slicer settings because that's already right here. This ABS Zortrax. I've already defined those slicer settings. And all we got to do now is print. We specify our layer thickness, which is 0.3. That's pretty thick layer thickness, so it should print super fast. We want to leave the raft. We want to say supports, so don't click no supports. It'll default include them. And then we go print. What that does is that slices the G code and then goes ahead and sends it to the internal memory of the machine. So once that's buffered in the machine, it will let me know and confirm for me to begin the print. Alright, tells me it's going to use 7 grams of material and take about half an hour to do. Sounds good. Go ahead and do it. So you can see on the top, there's really no indications on the machine itself besides the single colored light there with the switch. It doesn't have a screen or anything else otherwise, which is kind of pretty bare bones, obviously. And what you can see, though, on the slicer software that also controls it is that the temperature for the hot end and the bed are raising right here. That's the bed. That's the hot end right there. So once it preheats, it should home and get started. You can see that it's heating quite quickly. The bed is 51.44, which I think is pretty sufficient. I believe it's set to go to 50. So now it's just bringing the hot end up. And that's coming up pretty quickly. You can see like 4 degrees at a time. We got ABS here, so this is going to go up to, I believe, 230, maybe up to 250. So we're at 232. It's getting pretty hot up there. That's fine. I'm going to reach in there and grab the little booger on the end of that. There we go. I was able to scrape that off with a brush very carefully. You don't want to short your heater cartridge. It looks like, wow, it goes up to 270, huh? That's pretty crazy hot. So, excuse me, yo, cat. This cat wants to approach the printer. I am not allowing him. He is irritated. Let me grab this little booger right here. So our print starts. It's always going to do a raft on here. That's sort of like a purge wall. Now it's going to start the raft. The raft itself is about 3 layers. So let me get this little booger out of there just to have it out. So you can see the raft has begun. I think perhaps what I'm going to do is, well, I don't want to move the camera into it because I do want to shut it and allow it to properly print being shut. So that front door shuts. This hinged top comes down. My cat rubs his face on the camera. Get out of here, buddy. Come on, you're in the way. So that's what this looks like. So that's going to go ahead and print for the next half hour. And we'll go ahead and come back, and hopefully we'll be able to have 2 separate video streams. Actually, I had tested the webcam, so I know it works, but what I mean is hopefully this will go on there correctly and be able to sit in the microphone stand easily. So I'm going to go ahead and end my stream now. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up later with this and see if it works. See you guys later. Bye-bye.